everybody. A warm welcome to Wisdom from North, the Nordic platform for accelerated inner growth and empowerment. I'm Janneke, and today I'm super excited to be here with the spiritual teacher, Eva Andrea. Eva is a highly recognized spiritual teacher in Denmark, but she's also an author, a best-selling author of the books, And I Awakened, and Behind Everything I Can Hear Your Song. She's also one of our popular masterclass teachers in Wisdom from North membership, teaching the class, The Secrets to Your Soul Journey. However, today we're going to speak about writing because Eva Andrea is very passionate about helping aspiring writers find their unique voice and sort of unleash that magical pen. And so we're super excited that we're actually going to have a free live webinar on Tuesday, February 9th for everybody who is interested in really connecting deeper with that magic that they have inside and to express it. And Eva is also going to help you pinpoint what blockages you may have and how to release them, and also how to connect with your divine inspiration. So if you want to join us, the link is right below. And now it's time for you to meet beautiful Eva. Hi, Eva. How are you today?
Hi, Janneke. I am so thrilled to be here with you and your beautiful viewers. It's just always so lovely. So thank you.
I'm excited to connect with you again because I really appreciate your work, and I've read your 2 books. I've done interviews on them before, and they've given me so much. And now you started sort of helping other aspiring writers to come out with their message, which I think is so important, because I think especially now, like this year, where we've been going through hard times, people are waking up to their true gifts. And you're truly helping them, especially those who have a writer inside, to dare to do it, come out, even if it's a blog or if it's, whatever it is, what kind of writing it is, to really dare to start writing and find their unique voice. And today we're actually going to speak about 7 signs that you have this magical writer or even a book inside. But before that, can you tell us a little bit about the webinar and what you will present and tell us and show us?
Yeah, of course. And I look so much forward to that, because there we get the time to go into and find the 3 most, or the 3 strongest blockages we have. I have found the 7 most common blocks that I see in all the writers I work with, one-on-one or online, and we will define and find them. And then we will unleash them, as you said, and then we will also go into this beautiful meeting where I take you into the castle of your soul, and we meet the divine muse that is there for all of us. And we just need to connect with, or reconnect with, and get in connection with what it is that wants to be expressed through us, that divine spark of creativity and what wants to be written through you. So I look so much forward to that part as well. Yeah, it'll be magical.
Beautiful. And I just want to say, if you cannot make it live, no worries. I will send you the replay as long as you have signed up. However, if you do show up live and it's 8 o'clock, like Paris, Copenhagen time on Tuesday, the 9th, you're going to actually get a download of the meditation that we're going to do. And that's worth €35. So because we think it's always more fun when we are live together. And I feel like whenever we are live in a webinar, then the magic really happens. So we wanted to give you something extra. But I want to ask you, Eva, what is this passionate? What is this passion about, or why are you so passionate and burning so much for helping writers really connect to that something that they have inside that needs to be sort of expressed to the world?
Yeah, I have asked myself as well. And recently I was shown actually something that goes all the way back to an earlier life that I will tell about afterwards. That is new to me too, because this has really become a strong urge in my soul. And you know, when we are soul driven and you just kind of surrender and you just do what you feel calls on you. I've been doing that for a long time now, but now I understand the deeper meaning. But also in this life, I have had a journey from, you know, how I grew up in this closed Christian community that was very conservative. And I was taught from I was very little to dim my light and silence my voice in a way. I remember a moment when I was a little girl, 6 years old or something. And you know, so excited to have visitors and preparing, you know, for friends and family to come over. And just before the cars are coming, my mom takes me aside and looks me in the eye and says, Eva, remember when the brothers are speaking, you must be quiet. And I was like, what? What does that mean? And why? And then she looked me in the eye and said, because you are a girl. And I remember that feeling of just like the world, just something just cracked, you know. It felt so unfair just because I was a girl. It wasn't just because I was a child, right? It was because I was a girl. And I needed to know my place, right? And of course, I forgot that evening when the guests were coming, because the brothers were also friends and family. And brothers were like the elders in the community, right? And I remember forgetting and, you know, chatting and meeting my mom's eyes and suddenly feeling that shame, you know. Oh, I forgot. I disappointed her, you know. And I think all who have been children have experienced that feeling of shame, you know, sinking. And from that on, I learned to you know, fit in and to find my place and to dim my light. And as a woman in this community, it took me so many years to find my own voice. And I was 33 before I was suddenly sitting writing one day, and out of my pen comes the words, I am a writer. And they kind of just stare me in the face. And I realized, that's true. I think it was like a truth coming from my soul, you know? And it was like this deep inner knowing, yes, I have been writing all of my life, but secretly, you know, and with my pen pals and all of that. And all those mountains of notebooks, you know, but I hadn't seen that I had a gift, and I hadn't given myself permission to write and share my voice and my truth. So then I started writing my first book, and now it's 6 books later and a whole other life later where I have left my tribe, and now I can sing my song freely, you know. So yeah, that's the longest story, you know, why I have this. I really understand how we can forget our light and forget our voice and not take our message seriously because of all the limiting beliefs that we receive during our, you know, different paths. Because we all have to let go of these limiting beliefs and fears in some way or another. Yeah. And then, yeah, recently, I don't know if I have time to tell all these stories, Jannica, but just recently I had a deep insight, because, as you know, we have been talking about my latest spiritual novel, where I went to Avila and met Teresa of Avila, that mystic.
Yeah, that was the book.
A long time ago. Yeah, exactly.
Behind Everything, I Can Hear Your Song, just for everybody watching. Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, that book wrote me, you know, that book wanted me to go there and receive it and write it. And I wrote about the dark night of the soul, and I shared my own personal journey. And it's only half a year ago, long time after it was published, that I was sitting in a meditation, and Teresa comes, as she kind of used to, because she has come quite close to me right after that meeting. And then she takes me back in time, just spontaneously takes me back in time and into a moment where she shows me that she's in her bed and she's dying, and she says to me, Anna, you must finish the books. And then I'm like thrown out again of that moment, and I'm like, what was that, you know? And I Google and I found out Anna, and what is that? And I understand that she had a writing sister who helped her with her writing and who took the manuscript of her book to Paris and actually published it after her death. That book that I had been writing about in my book, you know. And this was new, totally new to me. But it kind of made some puzzles fall in place, why I feel this longing to finish the books, you know. I must help finish the books. It's something in my soul, you know, that just...
Let me just ask you, for those who are not familiar with Teresa of Avila, can you explain shortly who that is? And also, do you think that this was a sign for you then, that she's like helping you as a guide for you to finish your books?
Yeah, or maybe, yeah, that is two questions. So yes. Teresa of Avila, she was a Catholic mystic, actually, and she was a revolutionary who made her own order, and she wrote many books. She was a writer, and she wrote the book, The Interior Castle, that is very known, about the soul. Yeah, and I think for me it was a message to understand that why I have this urge to help others to finish their books, because yes, I have my own books, but I have also this urge to help others to publish theirs, you know, and that is, I think, something that comes from that time. And, you know, you can believe it or not, you know, but for me, it was just making totally sense and gave me a deeper understanding, you know.
Yeah, it seems like everything you're doing is like coming from this deep soul heart place. And I just wanted to say also that, or I was thinking that that's why, you know, I want to work with you. That's why I want you to be one of our masterclass teachers, or you are, because you're coming from this place of experience, you know, like you have been going through being brought up in a society or a community that was not supporting finding your life mission, following your heart, following your joy, shining your light, which we are talking about today. That was not supported, and you broke through it, and today you are shining your light. So it's really like, you know, a testimonial to you, your life, like, and now you're helping others doing the same. I think that is so powerful. And that is what, you know, I'm teaching my members to do, step into their empowerment. And that's what you've done. And it's just so beautiful. But now we're actually going to jump over to what we wanted to share today. And that was like the 7 signs that you actually have a book inside. And that's really exciting. I'm really excited about hearing about these signs.
Yes, and I'm so excited to share them, you know, because these are like 7 things I have just found again and again and again when I talk to my clients, and also I have found in myself, but I've really seen this is a pattern. These are really signs. And it's not that you need to recognize them all, but if you recognize some of them, this is a strong indicator that you have a book in your soul. You know, so when you listen and I go through, I think you should just really, you can count on your fingers, right? How many yeses you feel, or how many times you recognize these 7 things that I will go through. Yeah, so who knows if you have a book inside too, Janneke?
I know, I'm a bit curious right now. I don't have time right now, but who knows, you know, in 10 years or so.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, sign number 1. Sign number 1 is you feel the longing. So longing is the language of our souls, right? And if you feel a longing when thinking about if you have a book inside, it's actually a sign that it's there. And if you have this longing to co-create with your soul and universe, you know, even if you can feel fears and insecurities about it, that's normal. We all have those. But you have the longing, that's sign number 1. Number 2, the thought of writing a book or writing, makes you curious and sparks a joy inside. That's a sign that your inner artist child has some adventures for you, and has something for you to discover. So even if you might meet again some limiting beliefs and so, but if there's this little, spark of curiosity and joy and bliss when you think about writing, it's a sign that there's something there. Number 3, now I just go through them all, right, is that you have a passion to share. So if you sense this feeling of a mission and a purpose, also when you're thinking of writing, it is a sign that your soul has a message to share. And it could be that you already have an idea for a book, or stories or poems or songs. Could it also be, that is kind of, that you kind of already have a feeling of. But if you feel this passion to share something and you don't even know what it is also a sign, Could just be the feeling that I have a passion to sing my song or leave a legacy, or, just inspire others. So that is sign number 3, that you have a passion to share. Then there is sign number 4 that I kind of like. And of course it is that you love words and stories, okay? Because something fun happens if we have a longing to write in our soul, but we don't really embrace it and don't really do it. Then we become consumers of words and stories instead. So we consume instead. Because the other side of writing is reading, right? So we can become like really passionate readers, love to read, love to fill ourselves with words and stories and ideas and messages, right? Can you recognize that? So it's like we fill ourselves with these words, but it comes like a substitute for actually writing ourselves. So we kind of soothe the longing to write by filling ourselves with words instead, and stories. And it could also just be that we fill ourselves with movies, and we long to see all these movies, and it's stories, right? Stories to fill ourselves. And we become some kind of shadow writers in a way, and we don't even know it. So it's kind of a funny one. So if you have that love for words and stories, that is maybe a little more than normal, it might be a sign that you are a shadow writer. Okay, makes sense, Janneke?
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Okay, sign number 5 is that you have this longing to serve and to create some gold out of your pain. So I see that what I call magical writers are alchemists. They take the pain and the lessons from life, and then they transform it into something beautiful, into something useful, something helpful. They take and create art out of the pain. That is very like a strong sign as well. So if you feel this longing to create some deep meaning from the pain, because we have all gone through pain in different ways, or just from the life lessons, right? We've all had life lessons. It is also a sign that there is a book here, or there is some writing here. Could very well be. Then sign number 6 is something that I see a lot, and that is when you feel that you have to write or you will almost die inside. There are many who have this experience that they have suppressed the longing to write and to sing their song and share their voice. They have kind of used so much energy to hold it away, to hold it down, suppress it, that this creative fire almost turns on themselves and become destructive in a way. And it can feel like I'll be sick if I don't tell my story. That feeling that something in me will die if I don't share my story. I hear this from so many. And actually, it can take so much more energy to suppress that creative fire and kind of that force of that soul child that wants to come to the world in a way through you, that it takes much more energy to hold it back than to actually receive it and let it come to the world, right? Can you hear that? So yeah, and that is a very kind of a strong sign as well, and something we have to honor because it's real, and there's so many who recognize this. Now, the seventh sign is something I remember from also myself before I wrote and before I knew I was a writer. And that is the feeling of sorrow. Maybe when you enter a bookstore, or if you have a friend that publishes a book, something like that you can feel a sudden, like you can feel hit by sorrow or sadness or maybe jealousy. Because these feelings are actually a compressed longing in the soul, right? And then when we meet these situations where we meet the longing, it can express itself like a sorrow or a sadness, or should have been my book, standing on that shelf. So, and we can feel shameful about those feelings. It can feel like that's ugly, right? That's shameful to almost feel jealousy, but it's actually just that longing in your soul that kind of you feel in that way. So this is not from the ego. It can really be from the soul, that sadness. So these are the 7 signs that I have seen again and again and again that all points to that there's a soul child in you. There's something that wants to be expressed through you. And you don't need to have them all, but if you feel that you recognize some or quite a lot of them, you should really come to that webinar because then you will get to release those fears that hold you back and those limiting beliefs, and you will also get a deeper meeting with your divine muse and with what it is that wants to come through you. So yeah.
Super interesting, especially now, of course, I remember the last ones best, but number 6 to 7, like how your creativity might turn inwards and becomes destructive. That's huge, because I actually talk about that also when it comes to your soul's purpose. Like if you don't express your creativity, it will go the other way. Like then you suppress energy, and that is actually not very good. And then the 7th one, it was a bit surprising, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I do think we will feel bad if like our friend comes out with a book and we're like, that should be me, and then we feel so guilty and bad and bad conscience. But you're pointing out something important here, like if you weren't drawn to write yourself, you would totally be like, oh, go girl, or go, my best friend, or whoever it is, because we don't have like anything attached to writing. So you're so right. That made so much sense. Thank you for sharing that. And I also wanted to ask you in that webinar, who is it for? Is it for anyone who just love to write songs even, or is it more like for people who want to write a book?
No, it is actually for everyone who feels a love to write and to express themselves through words. And it could be children's books, songs, poems, books, blogging as well, or just social media sharings, if you want to connect soul to soul with your reader, if you want to write from this soulful place, then it is for you. It's, this is magical writing that I talk about it's especially, for souls who are conscious and want to co-create with the universe. and want to cultivate their intuition in the writing process. So in that way, it's not for everyone, because we're not all there, but for everyone who have that longing, and also want to create something that is so soulful and so original and has this special sound that only you have, then you should come. Yeah.
Wonderful. And I just wanted to ask you, you mentioned something about the previous life. I don't think you explained that, or did you?
Yeah, that was the Teresa thing, about you should publish, or you must finish the books, that message I got there, and which I did back then as Anna. So yeah.
Oh, you were Anna.
Yes, I was Anna. Yes,
I didn't get that.
No. So that was the revelation, to understand that was what I was, and that's why I was also able to write about Teresa as if I had known her, because I never understood why I felt so close to her. I felt like I knew her when I wrote the book. And now I better understand, right?
Now I get it, because I know you have some special abilities. Like sometimes you just receive information. Yeah. So do you have before we wrap up, any sort of tips on how we can start today to connect with that soul child? You actually call it a soul child, like that writing something we have inside that is like about to come out. How we can sort of know what that wants to express.
Yes. I love to call it a soul child, because it's like everything that wants to express through you every idea is like an energy form that wants to manifest physically, right? So it has its own longing, it has its own will in a way as well, and it wants to come to the world, and it wants to co-create with us because it really wants to manifest. So it's just as curious to get to know you as you are to get to know it. It's like a double attraction here. So much more about that in the webinar. But what did you ask me? What we can do today. Yes.
What I can do today, like if I wanted to do something right now to connect.
Sure. Yes, I have a lovely little thing to give you, and that is, our souls are always hit, or like, it's like we are often hit by wonder when we are in connection with the soul. It's when you see the sunrise, or you have that smell from the bakery that you pass that reminds you of your grandmother, those little moments of wonder that we have every day. And that kind of connects us with our soul and our ability to see the magic, the miracles in life, Try to carry a notebook with you always. Or your dictaphone on your phone. You can have a free dictaphone app, But always have something with you to capture these moments. And when you're hit with that feeling of awe and wonder, just can be a little thing that sparks it, then feel into what wants to be written, because it's often in that moment that you connect with your soul, and you also connect with inspiration. So maybe there's a poem coming, maybe there's a line for a song, maybe there's a little story, maybe you just write a memory from your childhood. This is a beautiful way of living a writing life, where you allow the wonder that hits your heart to kind of guide you. And then suddenly you will sit and you have a whole lot of puzzles of beautiful pieces of writing that might come together in a body and become a book one day.
Beautiful. So inspiring, Eva. Thank you so much. I'm super excited about Tuesday, and I cannot wait to learn from you and be there and just host this beautiful webinar where you're going to share your passion and wisdom and really show us the way on how to unleash our magical pen. So thank you so much.
You too, Janneke. I look so much forward. Bye.
And thank you for watching, everybody. And the link is right below if you want to join us. It's totally free. And also, I urge you to check out Wisdom from North membership, where Eva also have a really powerful, powerful masterclass. And then you can hang out with like-minded people from all over the world on the spiritual journey. So thank you so much for watching, and much light from Spain and Norway. Bye-bye.